Hello all. Today we will look into business scenarios. Before getting into the topic, let us understand what is business. Business is a list of things to be done, okay, one after the other. And if you consider this list of items, each item has a problem statement because we need to solve it. So a business is a list of problems and each problem having a statement. And this problem statement will become an opportunity for the development. So this list of problems together will become a business. And to solve each of its problem, we will use a technique called as business scenario. So what does business scenario do? Business scenarios will identify the problem, it clarifies the problem, it will refine the problem, it will articulate the problem, and then it will validate the problem with the solutions developed. And it is a relation, as we first discussed, that it is a list of problems. So each problem will have a context. For example, we have problem 1, 2, 3, 4. So problem 2, the context of problem 2 is problem 1. Sometimes it can be independent as well, but most of the cases it may have a context, earlier context. So when you are solving a problem, if you don't know or if you don't understand the context of this problem, then you can use solution to that problem, but the solution may not fit into the business perfectly. So that's the reason a business scenario is a description of a business problem which enables requirements to be viewed in relation to one another in the context of the overall problem. So it is a relation which is viewed with one another, but in the context of a overall business problem. If you miss the overall problem glimpse, then it may not say it will not fit properly. The building blocks that are built will not fit properly, and it will not solve the puzzle. So without such a description to serve as context, the business value of solving the problem is not clear. So it will be ambiguous. It may not fit properly, like we uh, discussed. So the relevance of potential solutions will become unclear, and there is a danger of the solution being based on this inadequate set of requirements. If requirements in the context and if the requirements are not properly flowing from one business problem to the other business problem, then it may put the system into danger. Okay, so that's about relation. And then bridge. So how a business scenario is uh, doing a bridge kind of activity. So if you see, we have all the business problems listed, and then what we do, we try to apply solutions to it. First we will develop an architecture, and then there will be the implementation, and then the solutions will come up. So the requirement and the solution that come up, the bridge for this requirement and solution is the business scenario. So in the process of solving a business problem and coming up with a solution, business scenarios will form the bridge. So this business scenario document, whatever we are going to develop, will help them to progress from business problem to the IT solution. So that's how it forms as a bridge. And what is the purpose of business scenarios? Like we discussed, that it's a technique to identify things and clarify, refine, and validate. In the same way, it is a relation with one another business problem, and the context should be understood properly in the perspective of the overall system to make it fit properly in the puzzle. And then bridge. It forms as a bridge where the passage of business need to the IT solution is formed. So those are the purposes of business scenarios, along with uh, prioritizing the IT initiatives as well. When I say IT initiatives, like we have all these problems, right? So we have to problem 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We can list all these problems. We'll take it as an opportunity. We'll take it as an initiative, and then we will rank them. We will prioritize them so that the development of each problem statement will become easy. And then we will validate those requirements, and articulating all these things in the structure of the business scenario template or any other template that will be used in this process is important. Okay, so that's about the business scenarios in a nutshell. Then we'll come into structure of the business scenario template. In the structure of this business scenario template, like I listed, these are all the simple things which we can look into, like scenario title. Scenario title is a short description, it's a descriptive name, for example, automated loan approval process kind of a thing, and then description. So in description, we will describe what is the business issue or problem, or what is the opportunity, and how important it is to solve. And then in business environment, we'll set the context of the problem. We will provide the basic understanding of why this problem statement has to be solved and how is it linked with the other problem to achieve the overall business. And then we'll also talk about what domain we will be working on, like finance, healthcare, etc. And then if there are any external factors that are going to influence this business, like regulations or market pressures and competition. And then are there any internal factors like current processes or the existing current architecture or IT landscape, and any constraints like business or finance or budget, etc. Okay, so that comes into business environment. And next is objectives and goals. In objectives and goals, we will be mostly writing the outcomes of the business, uh, outcomes of the business wants. What is business uh, expecting from this activity? So that would be provided there, and it must be in a smart way. When I say smart, it should be very specific and then measurable. Uh, so smart, like specific. The problem should be mentioned very specific, so no generalization, because every business has its own needs, so that has to be very specific. And then it should be measurable. For example, you want to remove manual work from operations, at least 50%. So 50% of the manual work should be gone. So that can be a measurable thing. So some kind of measures you have to frame there. And then whether it is achievable or not. If it is not achievable, then there is no point of going forward and doing this activity. And then whether it is relevant. If it is relevant, how relevant it is in short term, in long term, or is it going to create value to the business or not. So such kind of things will come into relevance. And then time bound. So when I say time bound, how long are we going to execute this project? How long are we going to, when we are going to finish it? It's kind of a milestone based or deadlines one, and it should be meaningful so that business should be operating it as soon as possible. So these all will be part of the objectives and goals. And next comes the stakeholders. Stakeholders can be business executives who are dealing with this business, and then IT leaders, the IT department leaders, and then customers who are going to use this system once developed, and then regulators are also part of the stakeholders. And then comes to actors. Actors can be people, end users who are using this, who will be using this system, or the systems interacting with the processes. Like there might be some external systems which we may use, which we may connect to, and then fulfill our business needs. So those are all also part of the actors. And then the roles and responsibilities of each stakeholder and actor who are involved in the system. And then next comes the business process and activities. So business process and activities, for example, we need to do a loan approval thing. Then what are the steps in it? Customer applies it first, and then system performs some credit assessment, Then the loan officer will review and then flag this whether it can be approved or not, and then customer receives approval or rejection. So this is a step by step, that's a process and the step by step activity that's going to happen. So those kind of steps are important to mention in the business process and activities. Requirements can be functional and as well as non-functional. So functional requirements are the requirements that the business needs, what the system is going to do and what processes must it do. So it is like overall business what we are going to do, the business process and activities what we have covered there pretty much is also part of the functional requirements. Along with functional requirements, non-functional requirements should also be considered. How secure this application should be, this system should be, and what would be the scalability. Today we have 100 users, tomorrow we may have 1000 users and it may increase. So how are we going to scale this system application? And then performance, how quick the response will be shown to the users, end users. What is the performance, what would be the performance? So those kind of measurements we have to take, those kind of measures we have to come up with. And then compliance, whether it has to comply with any of the standards. If such, then what are those? So this kind of non-functional requirements are also should be noted as part of requirements. So requirements will have both functional and non-functional requirements in it. And then comes the constraints and assumptions. Constraints can be like technology constraints. What kind of technologies we can use for which will fit to our application or system that is going to be developed, or what kind of budget is allowed for this project, for this problem to be solved. If there are any milestone based or short term based or long term based constraints that are coming into picture, so those will be also part of it. And then any complaints, rules, any external or internal or regional based constraints that are there, then those should be mentioned as well. And assumptions, see, any project, when we start any project, we do some assumptions, like we have this much of skilled staff with us, and customer is ready to adopt it in so and so date, and this technology is sufficient for us, and these lessons are okay for us. So all those assumptions, whatever we are having in our brain, should be put on the paper so that those can be validated. And then expected outcomes. So the expected outcomes is like, what is the success criteria? How are you going to measure the success? That is the expected outcomes. For example, this business problem may have an expectation that it should completely remove the manual intervention. Everything should be automated, or at least 80% of the loan applications process should be automated, or the customer satisfaction, whatever they have now, should increase from so and so to 30% more. So these kind of expected outcomes can be part of the expected outcomes section. And then comes the value and benefits. So strategically and then operationally, what value and benefits this problem statement solution will be providing to us, whether this will be aligned with the business goals for short term or long term, and then mission of the organization, and then whether it is efficient, will be efficient, and how much cost it is going to incur, how much cost it is going to incur, and whether it will save anything by putting this investment. So what would be the ROI, return on investment? So these are all the kind of the things that can be put in the value and benefits section, so that when these things are taken to the higher management board, then they will analyze these values, and then if there are any risks associated to it, and they will see which project or which problem is more important to be solved and which has to be prioritized. So those kind of decisions can be taken. So that's about the business scenarios. Please like, share, and subscribe to my channel. Thank you.